Good morning. It's been a long time since I made a video, and I'll explain the reasons why as I work through this. Unfortunately, I had another emergency hospital admission. This time, what happened, I almost can't even remember. I was not feeling well at all. I was getting very weak. It was getting harder to eat. And I just felt like if I didn't get to the hospital, something bad was going to happen. So I went, and it turns out that after doing another CAT scan of my abdomen, I had diverticulitis. And that's something that I've had many times in the past. Since I was about in my mid 40s, I think was the first time I had it. So I didn't really have the same symptoms because I wasn't having that left sided abdominal pain that I normally have, but I knew something was wrong. I just felt so awful. So they admitted me for what was supposed to be just overnight observation because I had been vomiting quite a bit. And so they were just going to watch and make sure that I didn't get dehydrated, and they wanted to do IV antibiotics. So that overnight observation turned into about 3 days of admission because I was struggling to eat anything. I just didn't have an appetite, and when I tried to eat, oftentimes I would start to vomit shortly after. So they thought they'd better err on the side of caution and just keep observing me for a while and keep doing the IV antibiotics. I did eventually get to come home, and I was feeling very weak. I had lost yet more weight. I think in all, I've lost about 30 pounds. One of the things that was really starting to rear its ugly head was my blood pressure, hypertension. It had been out of control really since the time of my stomach surgery. I was getting blood pressures that were in the 200s over 100s, and I couldn't explain it because I wasn't eating, so I couldn't blame it on salt. I wasn't hardly drinking that much, so I think maybe you could blame it on dehydration, but I was getting IV fluid, so that kind of knocked that excuse out of the ballpark. I don't know why. I wasn't in a lot of pain. I wasn't taking pain medication. Once they started the antibiotics, I was feeling better. I just couldn't keep anything down. I just kept retching and vomiting, and it was awful. So finally, I did make it home. And I really wanted to work on eating because I knew I hadn't been eating very well and I hadn't been drinking very much. And, all the signs were there that dehydration and starvation was a problem. So I just wanted to recall the instructions I had been given that I should not focus on 3 meals a day, but on many meals a day that were short and low in volume, but frequent. And so that's what I started to do. And I started looking at different options that I had to help me to learn how to eat less because I had an appetite. I just couldn't eat all that I wanted. And that caused me a few problems. So I discovered at the dollar store that they had these basically protein sandwiches because they were just meat and bread. But I found the portion size of the meat to be absolutely perfect, that I could eat a patty and get through it and not throw up or get sick. And so I started buying the chicken and the barbecue rib, and I didn't want to get the hamburger because I got loads of hamburger in my freezer. I could just cook patties of the same size. But it helped me to learn what volume I needed to eat and stay comfortable. And I really appreciate that. It's not the healthiest food in the world, but it was working well for me. So then I noticed that I was starting to feel better. I wasn't feeling as weak. I could even eat just a little bit more instead of limiting my meals to 3 or 4 bites. I find that I could eat 5 or 6. And I was really happy about that because most of the time I really wanted to eat and I had an appetite, but I just couldn't. And if I pushed it, I would get a lot of pain and then vomiting. So, what good is eating too much if you're just going to throw it all back up again? So, I had to really curtail my desire to eat more than what my stomach could handle. So, even last night, it was a challenge because I had the barbecue rib meal and it has corn and mashed potatoes. And I didn't eat much of the corn because corn is hard to digest, and I didn't want to tax my stomach. It largely doesn't get digested at all, and it just moves through as it is. And so I felt it would be better if I just stayed away from that. So I got through the meal, but I was still hungry. I still wanted to eat, but I didn't want to make myself sick. So I was looking in my refrigerator and I noticed that I had some of those little Jello cups. And I thought, well, this might be good because Jello basically melts into water and it really doesn't take up a lot of space as, like if I were to eat food. So I ate a cup of that, and on the second to the last bite, I was like, ooh, I think I just messed up. And I took the last bite because it was small, and I thought, well, if I can get this down, I'll be happy. I finished it, I'm good. I did get it down, but within 30 seconds, everything came back up. I don't know if I even kept the meatloaf that I had eaten. Or was it meat? Yeah, it was meatloaf. It wasn't the rib dinner. Um, Very upsetting because I just see it as a big waste. I had food that could have helped me to be healthy, and now it's gone. So that was a learning lesson that if you're comfortable, just stop. Just stop. Have some self control and end it. So, all in review, after my stomach surgery, I had 2 emergency admissions. One was for infection and 2 abscesses that they found around the incisions. And the second one after that was for diverticulitis. I'm 2 months out now. Well, I will be in another week. Um, and he told me from the beginning that it would take 3 months for me to start feeling normal. So I need to be easy on myself and remind myself that I'm not there yet. I shouldn't expect to feel normal just yet. So I'm trying to resolve that. I went to the grocery store this morning because I wanted more of those TV dinners. I've been craving a salad because I've been eating mostly protein and I'm really craving vegetables now. Unfortunately, what I threw up last night was some broccoli and cauliflower that I had cooked, and I was really disappointed in that because that was probably some of the healthiest stuff I've eaten in a while. But it's gone now. So this morning in the grocery store, I bought one of those pre-made salads. I like the Santa Fe Fiesta ones that have this spicy chicken. It's not very much chicken though. It's mostly lettuce. So I hope that hits that craving that I've been having. And I haven't had any kind of, like lettuce or anything like that since surgery. So I don't know how I'm going to tolerate it, but I hope that I get through it well. I'm needing to remember to stop eating, after those 5 or 6 bites and not push it, not just yet. I do feel like I am improving day by day, even though I have setbacks like I did last night. Those are totally my own fault, and it's not because there's something wrong with me. It's what's wrong with me is self-control. So I've watched other videos of people with stomach cancers and their surgeries, and in the beginning I felt almost blessed because I felt like, well, at least I get to keep part of my stomach. And I thought that was going to be a big plus. But I'm now feeling completely the opposite. I feel like I would have been better served if they just would have took the whole stomach. Because at least one of the videos I've been watching, he's doing so much better than me. And I know that it's because he's young too, and I'm old. That makes a difference. But it's he is not finding the reoccurring vomiting that I'm having, where my stomach is just struggling. I thought because there was more than one entrance into my intestine, that if I ate a little bit too much, it was okay because it would just spill over from one of the two openings and I would be fine. But that's not happening. It's not. When my stomach gets too full and it's not happy, I simply vomit. And I haven't really talked to Dr. Groats about it at Mayo Clinic. I did look up some information about one of the possible complications of partial gastrectomy, and one of them is where you get these sort of mini blockages where things aren't quite moving like they're supposed to, and so it will cause you to vomit in order to clear that blockage. And that's exactly what it feels like for me. I feel like things just aren't moving like they're supposed to. And more often than not, I rarely vomit food. Last night, it was totally my fault. I overate, and that's why I threw up my food. But most of the time, it's just mucus and gas that I'm bringing up. I just retch until those things come up. And then after they're cleared, I feel so much better. So I think the next time I talk with Dr. Groats, I'm going to mention that and ask him if that's something that resolves with time or if that's going to require another procedure down the road. Because I feel like that is what's really hindering me from progressing and getting better. That's one of the side effects of retaining part of your stomach. I'm trying to look up more information too about the weight loss gastrectomies because basically that's what I had. I had part of my stomach removed, so I can't eat as much as I used to. I'm losing weight, and I will probably continue to lose weight over the next year. The weight loss has slowed down. It's about a pound or two every couple of days, which I think is what they really wanted. They didn't want that rapid weight loss, and it was kind of expected in the beginning as I learned how to re-eat. But now I think I'm getting adjusted to the portion sizes that need to take place, and I'm learning through trial and error what's going to set me off and what isn't. So I hope to start cooking more for myself. It's been a challenge because oftentimes when I cook, it's way too much, and then I end up with a lot of leftovers. And I have never been a leftover person. Once I've cooked it fresh and I've finished, I'm finished. I really don't want any more, and I don't want to eat a leftover 2 or 3 days later. So that it's been hard for me to learn how to not to cook so much. So you have to relearn how to season things and just a whole array of things that you got to relearn when it comes to cooking. So I'm about to enter into that phase of this because I really want home cooked meals. They're healthier. They will get me a lot further in life than these banquet TV dinners. So, but I'm grateful that I had the TV dinners because they did help me to learn portion sizes much better. That this is the size that I need and not these big chunks of meat. So the next step now is my lung surgery, and one of the things that has happened is that I had a CAT scan of my chest last week, and by an amazing feat, the lung tumor is shrinking. And the doctor felt that it was one of the side effects, if you want to call it that, of the FLOT chemotherapy, that it was a delayed reaction, but a reaction nonetheless, that it's responding to the chemotherapy I had over the summer. They know that it's not going to shrink and go away. It's just smaller, and it's bought me more time to get healthy from this stomach surgery, and I am so grateful for that. So now my next appointment with the thoracic surgeon is in the first week of December. So surgery for my lung will not take place before the middle of December, and I am so thankful that I have the time to do that. I don't know how much more it's going to shrink, but I'm glad that it is. I kind of wonder if that's the reason why I have been as sick as I have been, because that shrinking tumor is sloughing off cancer cells that have died. And I think that might possibly be part of the reason why I have been sick. I know another part of the reason why my blood pressure was so out of control is because I was eating things that were rather salty. Like, I didn't realize just how much salt I was eating every time I had cottage cheese. I love cottage cheese, and I ate a lot of it because it was easy to eat, it didn't irritate my stomach, and it's high in protein. But I've had to back off from that. So now sometime this week I've got to clean out my fridge because I've got loads of food that it's old, and I probably shouldn't try to eat it because even if it doesn't smell bad, it's probably on its way to being bad, and I don't need to put that into my body right now. So I just wanted to update you on the things that were happening in my life now. I'm still alive and kicking. I'm still trying to grow some hair, not very much, but I'm trying. So again, I appreciate everyone who watches my videos. I'm sorry that they aren't more entertaining, but I hope they're helpful to you. Know that the hardest part about stomach surgery, I think, is retraining yourself how to eat. We have desires and inclinations that have been cultivating over a lifetime, and to change them now at my age is hard. I have things I love, I have volumes of food that I like to eat, and I just can't do it. So that's the biggest struggle to me of this whole journey. The chemo first, the actual surgery, and then learning how to eat again has been really hard. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you did make it to the end. It was kind of a long video, but it's been a while since I've done a video, so there was a lot to say. So thank you again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.